Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question, what is consciousness? Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, welcome to the live stream of consciousness. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. That's where we're at today. I don't usually dress this way, but today I did a presentation. My name is Michael Zinn, by the way, for those of you who haven't been here before. The live stream of consciousness is my place to chill every Thursday and have amazing conversations. I see Tim is out there. What's up, Tim? I see Hat Powser is out there. What's up, Hat? Good to see you as well. The live stream of consciousness is the place to be on the Thursday night to listen to some interesting stuff. Normally it's metaphysical based, consciousness based, but tonight is going to be off the rails. I think we are having a return champion to the show, and I'm really excited to talk about all the new things that he's got going on, and even maybe give people an opportunity to pop on screen or join us in the chat and ask questions. You're always welcome to ask questions and all of that stuff. But anyway, so I started saying I don't usually dress this way, but I was doing a presentation today about marketing. And not a lot of people know what marketing is. And marketing is getting attention, right? Getting attention to your business. It's not selling. That's a whole different thing. It's not leads. Those are all different things. And this is marketing. So I wore this shirt to kind of make the point, and I got a lot of compliments on it, or comments, not the, maybe they were compliments, but it worked and it was awesome. So I'm excited about that as well. I see a bunch of people coming in. I see Stefan. What's up, Stefan? Good to see you. And Christina is out there as well. What's up, Earth Angel Light Activation. Christina was a guest on the show a few weeks back. Anyway, I'm imagining that a lot of you guys who are here are excited for tonight's guest. Tonight's guest still remains unnamed, but was one of the founders of the show. One of the reasons the live stream of consciousness is here. I don't think I would have started it without his encouragement to come on screen and talk to everybody and have these great conversations. So without further ado, it is 9:03, which is about the time I start realizing I'm babbling. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, or should I say welcome back, returning champion, Jesse Blaze. What's up, my friend?
What up? I fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
You definitely do both of those things and much more. What is up, Julie? Good to see you out there as well. And Stefan, what is up? It is going great. Look who I've got on my show. It's got to be going great. So I'm excited to have you back, Jesse, because the last time or when you left, you kind of left and said, hey, I got a bunch of things gonna do, and I want to do some things. And now all of those things have manifested. You have manifested a whole bunch of amazing things, including some really successful podcasting shows. And I want you to tell us all about it. What have you been doing since you left?
Well, this thing here, doing the podcast thing and the live stream thing, all this stuff, it can be very frustrating and thankless. As you said, you're putting on your marketing shirt. This marketing thing is not really a thing that most people sort of prepare for as a part of their life. And in fact, marketing yourself especially tends to be really difficult for most people. It just does not come naturally to them. And, people who are in creative positions, we largely just sort of like wait, begging God to send us someone to market us, tell people that I'm worth like looking at, please, so that I don't have to do it. But unfortunately, doing good, Stefan. Thank you. It's not possible, and in this day and age too, especially, look, every single musician, film, anything that you've ever seen, it has come your way because of marketing. There are some things that'll slip through based on quality, based on a really great reviewer who gets respect and makes a DJ, a time where he does his radio and he'll push a single. Like, there are exceptions to these rules where these things will get pulled into the system because there's just so much ravenous energy for it. But for the most part, Lady Gaga and Nirvana and then David Grohl, like, you see these people because they are being presented to you, because they have done whatever it is that has been asked of them to do for money to be pumped into promoting them.
Mhm.
And people do not understand that there is no real level of promotion for anybody who's not a part of this upper echelon of money that gets put into marketing. When you talk about a movie and the movie's $200 million, right? They spend another $200 million marketing the movie.
Just to market it, yeah.
The budget is just double. Just take that, and then that's what they're going to spend to get it out to you.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine this, right? It's just like that the marketing side of things, the actual forcing it into people's hands, into their faces, is the biggest part of it.
Right.
This leads to so much superficial thinking in the corporate world because they see that, like, the talent side of things, the quality side of things, it pales in comparison to the power of marketing, to the power of a variant cover or getting a feature from 50 Cent or something superficial that they can promote.
Right.
So, because of this crazy tier thing, it takes all of the indie artists completely out of the running. But in this modern day and age, with live streams and social media and things available to us, there has been a new pathway that has opened up
Yes.
to establish yourself as a person. We're living in a world where a person who would be famous in your town for being uniquely themselves as a member of your community is now a member of the larger community, and they're famous for being that unique person. Like, there's somebody that I follow named JD. He went to prison. He's a reformed convict, and he's like tries to help people out and be encouraging, but he also gives a lot of facts about what prison's like, and and he's a great guy. And as you watch his thing and see his takes and see his vibes, you're like, man, this JD dude's amazing. So because I'm a real person, I really love the stuff that, I'm not a superficial guy who's like making music as a vehicle to be famous and, be liked, or making comics as a vehicle to be famous and well liked. I was talking today on a comic book show about this conversation that I got into with my brother a long time ago, because my brother Cody's a very successful filmmaker. And there was a moment where I had said something to Cody and it made him feel like I was ignoring the fact that on a certain level, he was giving me an opportunity to get into filmmaking.
Mhm.
I don't want to get into filmmaking.
Right.
I don't give a shit about filmmaking. I
Right.
only wrote a screenplay, and the only reason why me and Cody were in that conversation, because I love Cody and I wanted to help him, and I thought I could. And,
Right.
I set out to write something that would be a benefit to him. But
Mhm.
there was no part of me that was like, oh, and maybe I'll get into filmmaking.
Right.
I
Right.
like, if I had wanted to get into filmmaking, I would have chose filmmaking. I would have
Right.
chose
Right.
writing movies.
Sure.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
chose comics because it is less superficial, the world. And
Mhm.
that world in particular, it is really like blowing up in a great way socially. The audience has been rejected in the exact same way that they've been trying to reject Trump and all Trump supporters on the media. Prior to what they did to Trump, they did it to fans of Star Wars and
Mhm.
fans who weren't enjoying and appreciating casting and choices that were being made in the geek culture stuff. They were making all these changes and people didn't like them. And to obscure the fact that they had legit criticisms, they said, oh, no, you're just this and you're that and you're whatever. Well, they forced the geek culture community to form an even tighter knit community and start helping each other out. And I went on one of these channels today and I said, I'm a professional. I've been in the industry a long time. I say, but you guys, you fans, you've been starting all these channels and linking together the fandom. and
Yep.
collecting all the people who read comics.
Yeah.
And I said, and like, it's a great benefit to me to be able to go on any of your channels and get with somebody who really reads,
Totally.
because now the marketing age is about really connecting with people. And what most people try to do is they try to go after like a million people at once. But a million people at once is not worth as much as one person who really fucking gets it and is
Right.
with you and is like,
Right.
I'm going to be paying attention from now on.
Right.
You
Totally.
know, and that's the thing, you know, and in the corporate world, like, that's the one power we have over them. They won't do that. They won't go after the one.
Right.
They're going to
Right.
go superficially after everybody. But you can start building a real audience and a
So
real community.
you were on another show today?
Oh yeah, and I got
Awesome.
another show that I'm going to do later tonight.
So
I've done like 6 in the past few days.
yeah, so I want to say, you know, I'm so freaking happy for you because, you know, watching you do those shows and like watching them on the side and seeing the audience's reaction to you. You know, they have these audiences who, like you said, are already comic book fans. They know, you know, it's like your world, right?
They made
And
me cry yesterday.
yeah, man, it's been really good. So I want to back up a little bit because you jumped right
Yeah.
in Jesse style. You
Well,
know,
you
not
said a
every,
bunch of the things about the marketing, and then the question you asked kind of tied into the whole thing, because it
yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
it was.
No,
So, I
no,
was like, wow, these things kind of like do fit together so much.
no, I totally get why you went there, but I want to talk about good things. I want to bring the energy to Jesse Blaze and the amazing accomplishments that I've seen you achieve. You know,
Well, it is
since
good things doing the thing, you know, embracing doing marketing for yourself, and because a lot of that comes
yeah,
with accepting, you know, that it's funny, man. It's like my favorite artists, like Kid Rock or whatever. You know, they say I'm cocky, and I say, what? It ain't bragging, mother effer, if you back it up. You know, like,
right.
I love that. That's the attitude that I have. And as somebody reminded me on one of these streams when I was on it, they said there's a lot of people who talk themselves up on these streams, but they don't talk about other people,
Mhm,
but you do.
mhm,
And that's right. I
mhm.
spend half my week gushing about things that I love.
Sure.
Every
Yeah,
Saturday, I do an episode of my Coolest Geek Alive podcast where I pick a television show or I pick a movie that's fucking awesome. And generally, I try to pick ones that I think, you know, maybe not enough people have been talking about or whatever.
mhm,
You know, every Monday night for my All Your Favorite Bands Suck show, I do a feature on one of my favorite bands. And I spend, you know, like 45 minutes to half an hour to an hour talking about how much I love that band and how to get into that band.
yeah,
You know, everything that I do comes from love. And if you're paying attention, not just to the fact that I'm good at what I do, you know, which
mhm,
sometimes, you know, some people can get like rubbed the wrong way by that. But for me, it's like the proof's in the pudding. And
mhm,
the only way for me to let you know, like, I'm not some fucking amateur showing up here making comics or making music. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I don't release shit that's bad, you know. So go check out the stuff. I know you'll be happy. I've been doing this long enough to know that the people that do get to listen to my music and do get to read my comics are thrilled with what they get. It's just
mhm,
a matter of marketing. I haven't been willing to sell my soul. Every time I went to a major label, they were like, they want to make me into Bon Jovi, you know, singing love songs and
mhm.
appealing to the young girls, selling sex. And
Right.
that's not what I wanted to do. And the major comic book companies, you know, really just, they don't treat their creative people very well. It was very frustrating. It was very hard to do my best work. So, you know, ultimately all of the stuff pointed to independence. And it's great. It's amazing that we live in a world right now with the Kickstarters and this sort of community of people, because they're coming together. And, you know, 800 people for Merck Publishing, who I was working for before, they were raising $67,000 from
Amazing.
800 people. So, I mean, we got 200 people, you know, who have backed the thing right now. And we've got 500 people who are still watching the campaign. So in the last few days, things could get really, really interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they do, because we need to make $15,000 just for me and my artist to get paid, with like production and everything,
Yeah. Yeah. Get
like
them printed.
professionals.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, for him to get his page rate, for me to get my page rate, and then everything after that becomes us being able to work on the future and build the business, and, you know, and
Sure.
keep this thing growing. So I hope you guys will support this thing, and I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll talk about it later. Some of the stuff that's going
Yeah, I
on right
want to
now.
share all the stuff. So I'm going back. So again, for those people who maybe don't follow Jesse, this is Podcast Playground right here. This website, and they're like one of the biggest repositories of podcasts out there. And if you look at featured podcasts here, you'll see All Your Favorite Bands Suck, which is Jesse Blaze. So I'm just my computer may be a little slow, but all your favorite bands suck. Jesse's one of the shows Jesse's talking about.
Yeah, every Monday night I'm doing. I just did Everclear and Nine Inch Nails recently. This week I'm doing Nathaniel Radcliffe and the Night Sweats, who's kind of like a blues, kind of almost country, kind of folk band. He's awesome. But yeah, with all sorts of music there. And then Cool as Geek Alive. That's Wednesdays is my normal show for Cool as Geek Alive, which is a little bit more inside baseball in terms of, you know, how things are made, how they're kind of fucking it up, you know, the choices that would be better to be being made, and, you know, whatever other inside baseball I can do. Like this week I did a show just all on what can we do to take over, independent entertainment. How does
Yeah.
independent entertainment take over? So I mean, it's a lot of stuff, especially if you're a writer, if you care about this stuff. It's very information dense. I am constantly studying the landscape, looking at the numbers for movies and TV shows and the ratings, and looking at the toy sales and the merchandise stuff. And I just have a very deep understanding of these things. So the show's been growing like crazy. We get a million, well over like 1,100,000, I think is what we're up to now, like monthly between the two shows.
That's
so
great, man.
That's really cool. And then, of course,
awesome.
The original reason why we were talking about coming on is I have a new show that is going to be getting up in the next few weeks. You can find it on my channel. It's called Everything They Don't Want You to Know. And essentially, it's like the follow-up to Livestream of Consciousness and mine and Michael's Universal Laws class that he helped me produce a few years ago now, that you can find still on my YouTube channel, Blacklight District Studios. But this show is basically, it's on all esoteric information. It's essentially, I'm going to be teaching you what they teach the Freemasons, what they teach in these secret societies, and the information that they are obscuring on planet Earth. And oh my God, guys, the amount of information that is being kept from you is just legion. There's so much stuff that they would prefer you not understand. And because there's so many concepts, you could have an idea about one thing or another, about some food additives or things they're doing with animal testing, or, there might be one area of pursuit that you're really passionate about and you figured out. I'm not like that. I never stop in the one area where I'm really passionate. I keep branching out and branching out and branching out and branching out. I want to understand this more deeply, more deeply, more deeply. And, I'm really big about building an architecture for my understanding so I can build a house upon it. I want to know what I'm putting my bricks on. And, having a fundamental understanding of the nature of reality is paramount to actually being able to get through this life in less pain, because this can be a really painful and disappointing place if you don't really come to understand the power of your mind, the power of your choices, and how you look at things with your perspective, and the fact that you have the ability to change your perspective. That, something as simple as me and one of my best friends, Mark Duran, finishing a workout, standing in front of a mirror, looking at our bodies, looking at each other. And I look over at him and I say, man, I wish I had your body. And he says, really? I wish I had yours. And he's big and beefy and whatever, and I'm like Bruce Lee and I'm cut up, and he's going, oh, that's what I want, and I'm going, oh man, I wish I looked more like The Rock. This is a perspective.
Yep.
There's a perspective that he holds that I look great. This is
great. I love that you're spreading the story. It's such a great story.
It's such a simple
lesson, right?
It is exactly. It is the best example. When I recently had it really put to me of like, you could change your perspective. You could find a way to, and like right now, there's a perspective that I keep kind of bringing myself to, which I keep kind of calling like the Ned Flanders, like the Oakley Dokley, kind of like the guy from Liar Liar. Carrie Elways plays the stepdad who's trying to marry the girl. And every time you see him, he's just blissfully ignorant that there's anything wrong.
Yeah.
But he's right. That's the way we all got to live. Without reading into what's being said, without taking insult to the ex-husband who's upset that I'm having sex with his wife. Yeah, she's a nice, I'm sure you're upset that you lost this. I'm with her now, and I know that if I get mad at you and make up, that's just going to cause me more problems in my relationship. That guy, Oakley Dokley, that little Ned Flanders.
He's got it right.
That's that perspective where you're not creating barriers. Like
Yeah,
I mean, I
totally.
literally was just talking to my children right now, and like just really had a serious kind of conversation with them, and we're apologizing to them for something that I do. And lots of parents do this, lots of people do this, but it's something that I realize that I do, and I don't want to do it to the people that I love anymore. And it is, I will read in to something that is said in a really bad way.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
and and sometimes I've been good at or better at going like, when you say this, do you mean this? Which is a way to at least, kind
Right,
of like
right, right.
address it in a better way
Not reacting.
than accusing them of what they mean. But both things are just inventing
Yeah,
negativity and negative energy. Like if
yeah.
you have to ask that, like you're essentially creating a thing,
Mhm.
that wasn't there before.
You
So,
know, it's funny that you're talking about this because I've witnessed you, you know, since I've known you in the last year specifically, you know, like no being very aware of your reaction to things and having more control over it.
well,
Um,
yeah, and I mean that's the thing, because it's the first thing is you have to recognize it.
right,
As long as it's a mindless thing that there's no perspective on, then you can't do anything about it.
right, right,
But the moment you're like, ah, okay,
right,
yeah, I see that. And the moment I hear my daughter saying something that basically amounts to, you're putting words in my mouth, Dad. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. You're making it worse than it is.
yeah,
And then I start to go, well, I've heard my girl say that. I've heard, this person say that.
right.
Okay. I know that I have a tendency to kind of think the worst because I can be a little sensitive.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
there's a part of me that sort of like wants to like bring out the worst so that I can say, tell me that the worst isn't true. so that
Right,
so that I could be relaxed now, because now I've thought of an idea of things being so terrible that it's I can't even live
totally, totally.
thinking of this.
I just want to acknowledge some of the comments. Helen said something sweet. In a mindset of abundance, this was when you were talking about the industry. Sharing the talents of others is easy, especially with loving hearts as you and Michael have. I think she's just complimenting us on
Oh,
sharing our
I love you
talents.
saying that. You know what? That's absolutely right.
Yeah,
The thing about me is, and it's something to pat myself on the back or whatever, but I'm an idealist.
yeah.
You know, I love the Muppet Show. I'm a big, as a little kid, I love the Muppet Show. And the Muppet Show, I feel like
Who doesn't?
encapsulates who I really am, at my heart, because if I could just be Kermit the Frog, surrounded by my unique friends,
Mhm.
offering them the opportunity. Oh,
Oh, we lost your audio.
lost my audio?
Yeah, for a second there.
Check, check.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. Oh. I also want to acknowledge Stefan. 100%. These tools bring a lot of power back to the people. We were talking about podcasting and Kickstarter. Brings a lot of power back to the people in regards to marketing and networking. This
Check,
is all
check, check.
phenomenal. We hear you. Things for indie artists in all regards. It allows everyone to sell themselves. Not only that, but it allows people to be themselves.
Yes.
You know, and
Well,
Jesse, you know, I know you're into that lately.
the only well, I am with the be themselves. The only snag with it is it makes getting good art harder,
Mhm,
because now good people take
mhm,
precedence over good art.
mhm,
And so there's a little part of it that like that is annoying for me too, as somebody who is a student who is really I'm this moment in time. I'm this moment in time for music. I'm this moment in time for comics. There's lots of people who are just starting. They're coming up. They're going to learn, but I'm on an equal playing field with them.
mhm.
And it's frustrating. And I know it's frustrating for people who are even elder statesmen beyond me, like big
Right.
artists and stuff, and they go on to
Sure.
Kickstarter and they're like, this is kind of crazy. It's all equalized.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
But anyway, just to finish what I was saying, that notion of just being a facilitator of the people that I love, to have the opportunity to show people the talent that they have and the wonderful ideas that they have.
Yeah.
I believe that we are living in a renaissance, and the problem is nobody is pointing it out. Nobody is going, have you seen this art? Have you seen this toy? Look what somebody made. Somebody
Right.
sculpted this from their mind. Like there's all of these incredible things going on, and most of them have been kind of marginalized down to kid stuff. Well, that's a comic book. Oh, that's a toy. It's a
Right.
doll.
Right.
But they're made by craftsmen who, you can't fucking do that. Like, you go make a freaking anthropomorphic elephant god toy. Like, holy shit, that's so cool. That came out of that guy's brain. There's a sculptor named Eric Treadaway, who's the lead sculptor for Four Horsemen Studios, who I've worked with before. I've always been big fans of this. And I really believe Eric Treadaway is the reincarnation of Da Vinci. And I
Wow.
find it to be a crime that nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who
Right.
fucking Eric Treadaway is. I do,
Right.
because I love toys.
Right.
But he's a toy maker. He makes toys. He's
Right.
not a fucking toy
Well,
maker.
listen,
He's one
and
of the
that's
greatest artists alive right
yeah,
now.
that's the beauty of who you are, and you find that you seek out these things, and you appreciate these things, and you can be that, and that's what's so awesome. Christina says, yes, you have to be humble and love yourself unconditionally enough to be open and real with yourself. It's hard for most, but actually it's the most freeing action anyone could make.
Wow. Well, that's inspiring me so much to talk about something like important.
Do it.
Okay. So this is like heavy shit, but like it's also the good shit. Like it's the shit that we need to hear. Okay. Because that is the important thing, the being your unique self. The universe is built interestingly. Everybody is equally important. And the sort of goal of a real high functioning, universal consciousness is us all behaving as is natural to us. It's when we are behaving as is natural to us that we are all having the proper and the required
Right.
effect on one another
Right.
to be growing and twisting and changing,
Right.
progressing as souls. When we stop being our true selves and we pull our, I say everybody's like a cog in a clock, and there's all those teeth, right? You pull a couple of your teeth in, the clock doesn't tell the right time anymore. You knock out those teeth. The teeth are perfectly timed so that this teeth hits this teeth, which makes this teeth, and then it tells the right time. When all the cogs aren't working, it's not doing its thing.
Right.
So, we are supposed to be our authentic self, but sometimes, and let me tell you, if you're out there and you have spent time feeling as though you were largely being your authentic self in one way or another, and that time and time again, you seem to get messages back from the universe that your authentic self was bothersome, was aggravating people, was challenging people in ways, was making them uncomfortable. And if you're somebody like me who feels everything that anybody I'm with is feeling, I notice so many things. People think that I'm not listening to them because I'll be multitasking, but it's easier for me to listen and multitask. So people think, well, he didn't look at me, but I'm listening. I listen very good, and I'll be noticing other things and noticing body language. And when you're very sensitive and people are feeling like you're too much, want you to quiet down and step aside, wish you weren't in the room right now, boy, does that put a bit of a damper on the idea of you feeling free to be yourself. And I will go as far as to say one of the reasons, the one of the things that hit me the hardest was I found a similar energy coming from my oldest daughter as she got older, that I was a bit too much for her, in that same way that I knew I had been kind of bothering other people. And I would never kill myself. But this feeling of, why do I want to be here as a loving person who's enthusiastic and passionate, and yet these things often seem to bother half the people, like a decent amount of the people. Am I really going to stay around on this earth being my authentic self when it pisses people off? When that's the least thing I want to do? When, when I heard Jim Henson's quote, my wish is that the world is a little better for me having been here. And then I start thinking, is the world a little worse for me having been here? And that thought and worry, and then on some level I wasn't always being additive, and it wasn't always positive, really
Interesting.
hurt me and hurt the part of me that was a perfectionist and like all these things.
Mm,
But I'll say two things. One, we got to tell the right time. You got to be whatever cog you are. It
mhm,
is the fundamental, important nature of the universe, and the universe will keep banging your head against the corner of a fucking table until you get the point.
mhm,
Stop listening to your mom and be yourself. Do what you are here to do. Think
mhm,
the way you are here to think, you
mhm.
know? And let me tell you, being more authentic, breaking the chains on my podcast, breaking the chains in the interviews that I've been doing, and really speaking frankly about
Yeah.
everything I see and everything that I've been going through and everything that I've been dealing with in the business has made me feel alive.
Dude, and it's I love that you're saying that because you were staying with me the other day and you were doing a podcast and you were in the other room, but I felt that energy. I like, and I was watching on YouTube in my room, and like I said, it was Jesse Land. It was like you found a place to be yourself, and not only be yourself, but be overwhelmingly accepted as yourself.
Yeah,
You,
I
you
said
know,
they made me cry because
yeah.
I ended up like accidentally kind of launching into a diatribe about my career in the industry, and it just felt right for whatever reason, and it kind of like came to me. I'm always doing everything intuitively, so
Mhm,
it tends to be when I interrupt my intuition that I'm making a mistake, kind of thing.
mhm,
So I let myself continue and finish it because it came out of me very honestly, but I did immediately start to think and worry, "Oh, I just talked a whole bunch. Everybody in the comments are probably gonna be like, this fucking blowhard, and like he just wants to talk and
no, it
doesn't
wasn't
wanna
like that.
listen," or something like that. And I go into the comments and it was just all support and all, "Yeah,"
Totally.
and
I was
"Preach,
yeah,
brother," and like just complete affirmative,
yeah.
affirmative, affirmative, affirmative. And
Amazing,
I just
right?
started
Yeah,
I started crying. I was like,
that's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
so
man.
nice." Here
I'm
I'm
so
worried
happy.
that I'm
Yeah,
being too much, and these people came back and went,
they love
"We're
it.
so glad to hear from you. We're so glad to hear you say all these things." And I mean,
Totally.
and that's been the main bit of just everybody just keeps going, "Ah, it's so great to hear from somebody who actually fucking knows what they're talking about,
Yeah.
who's actually, coming from a place of experience and who is bothered to study so that they actually know something and can impart
Right.
some information to people." And I
Yeah.
mean, that's such a big thing. Most people don't fucking study.
Yeah.
They're picking up little pieces of information and little things here and there. Me, I have to understand. If I get interested in something, I'm like, what is that? What does
Mhm.
that mean? How does that work? And this notion that like you have to fucking have a doctorate to understand something, understand how a surgery works, or understand how medicine works. You're fucking out of your minds, guys.
Right.
Just go read and
Right.
study and listen to people talk. And there's so many different ways to educate yourself now, thanks to YouTube. I love YouTube. YouTube is your friend, man.
Yeah,
Just
totally.
like, well, and all the
Well, it
brilliant
can be.
people who
It
are
can
on
be. There's
YouTube.
yeah, it can be. I just want to acknowledge Steve Sage said Adam from Adam and the Metal Hawks was a toy maker. I think I remember
Oh, I
hearing
didn't
that
know that.
before.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
next time I meet him, I'm gonna have to say something because I'm a big
Yeah,
toy guys.
totally, totally. I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, it's been really great to see you kind of putting all the effort that you did in the last year into the project that we haven't even started talking about yet, the comic book project, which is what you're promoting on all of these different shows. And then seeing you reap the rewards, not necessarily just monetarily, but again by kind of finding the people that understand you and that allow you to even be more Jesse, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's happening too with DILF USA in California, and again, sort of spiritual genesis of something like this, a couple
Mhm,
things like, about that band, which is just very spiritual. Uh, I was about to quit music for like the third time. I was talking to Julie, and I was like, I'm gonna quit. And she gets a phone call from her friend, bass player friend of hers. They need to fill in for Jack Russell's concert. So I end up learning a bunch of songs, or we put together a list of some songs that I knew, or whatever it was. And I go down there and we play, and we have such a great time,
mhm,
great show. And at the end of the night, people keep coming up to us saying they had such a great time.
mhm.
And I had been making all of these sort of denouncements to other musicians about how it's our responsibility to create space so that people can have a good time. Me and you have talked about this a lot at great lengths, because we've talked about making clubs and doing different things, because there's a lot of ways to make space and make things more inviting. Most of the club scenes these days, they're very uninviting. It's like not a place where you want to go and hang out. So it lends to that bar hopping thing. You're not there very long. Once the band that you liked stops, and they start changing the other band, you're out of there. Because it's not an inviting environment. And helping people to have a good time, that's the goal. And getting that reaction, which was the reaction that I had been kind of like pondering how I was going to get that reaction, but I had kind of forgotten all about it by the time I got to that show. And then when I got the reaction, I was like, that's it. I did the thing. I creating the
Just
space.
by being yourself.
Yeah, creating space, and I was having a good time. And on the way home, I got very specific about like another spiritual thing, because I was really breaking it down of like have good time and these things. And the people in Los Angeles, they're too superficial. They're all worried about each other. There's too much competition. And am I handsome enough? Have I gotten too old? Am I a good enough player? Like they're worried about all these things. They're constantly trying to impress everybody. And I used to do Fight for Your Right to Party at karaoke all the time. And I do a great job of, kick it. I do a great little impression of their thing. And I love it. I love the Beastie Boys. I love doing that song.
You could be a Beastie Boy for sure.
Oh, super, super fun. We do it. Dilf USA plays it all the time. But Julie had suggested I play it with Jack Russell's Great White. And I said no, because there wasn't really a because. But on the way home from the gig, after we had such a great time, I realized, because it wasn't a song that made me look like a brilliant singer and musician. Like it was a song that was going to make people laugh and they'd have a good time, but they wouldn't come away impressed with me. And I was like, ew, what? Damn it. I don't like that at all. That's the whole thing that I'm like noticing about out here, and about how it's kind of changed me. And I see how it changes other people, because it seems like there's all this pressure or something like that, and nobody's having any fun anymore. It's just a business. So Dilf USA, and when I called Robbie Lochner, my guitar player, the pitch that I gave him and I gave to everybody, who'd come to the band was, it's our job to give people a good time. If we go out there with an intention to bring the fucking house down, do encores only, play songs that people enjoy, and not wank ourselves off on stage by demonstrating how brilliant we are all night long, but really engage with the audience. Dilf USA just released a music video for a mashup cover of Two Live Crew's We Want Some Pussy and AC/DC's TNT, which is just like this ridiculous club song, goes over great. It's just, it's just coming out to have a party and yell and scream and jump up and down and get some energy, blow off some steam, have a good time, and doing all these things. And then even the name, because we had some other names that I was thinking. And then one day we had this line of text messages between me and my bass player where I'm just coming up with all these stupid names. I'm like, Dan McNay and the Raptors, Dickie and the Little Dickies, Dickie and the Big Dickies, who's our drummer's name at the time. And we're just coming up with all these stupid names, this guy and this and this and this and Stevie and that. But it's all like dicks and like just ridiculous shit that we're making up. I still have the list somewhere. I saved it because it was so funny. And we're laughing. It's like taking place over an hour. And the last thing that happens is like, Julie's like, we're having so much fun. She just starts like researching terms, to suggest stupid things for the names. And she's like, Dilf. And I go, Dilf. We put Dilf down. And that ends up being the punchline of us having a great time laughing about band names. Totally. And what name did we pick? The punchline to us having a great time laughing about band names. This is the way. Spiritual way, leading with love, trying to do something that is going to inspire fun. Meanwhile, Steel Panther, which if you guys are into Steel Panther, they're like an 80s comedy band that came out like in the 2000s, but now they're as big as some of the fucking 80s bands because they're so well loved and they're such a great band. Dilf USA has a fan of their singer. And he's been fucking wearing the t-shirts on stage. I mean, that's like, awesome. We're so honored. And Dilf USA, my plan for Dilf USA that I wrote in my notebook 5 years ago, before it was Dilf USA, was punk rock Steel Panther. That's what I wrote down. And I got a phone call from them basically saying they love us because they think we're a punk rock Steel Panther. And I'm like, we are. That was my idea.
That's awesome.
You know, like, I mean, that was ultimately what I was trying to generate, you know, from the beginning. Let's just have fun. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. And let's do really my preferred bit of music, just hard hitting, fast and loose pop punk music, shit that's anthemic and fun and cool, you know, edgy stuff and stuff that matters, but stuff that everybody can enjoy. So
Totally.
that's what we've been doing. And it's been working. And people, like, literally there are like 6 to 8 people who were at our first show who have not missed one.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Like lifelong fans.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like when we play, they show up. And they'll show up with like lights on and shit, you know, and like USA and flags on and stuff.
That's phenomenal.
Like literally for the first day of the gig, they were like, "This seems like a band that we should color coordinate, or you know, like, we should get into a flamboyant USA outfit." You know, and that shit's great. You know, that makes a fan base, and they've been in the videos now, and you know, and they're a part of our progress. And when we release a video, they share it to their friends, and you know, and this is part of that promotion thing, and ways in which you can make it a little bit less of a, hey guys, you know, which ends up having to be a lot of it. I mean, I had to approach a couple guys at a comic book store today. I was sitting there at the comic book store and I was going, I'm really not comfortable. I don't want to tell this guy that I have a book and that he should check it out, but I see different books that he's looking at and stuff, and I have a kind of feeling that he might really like my book, you know. And I finally went, hey, do you ever get like books to the thing? And I said something to the guys behind the counter who I didn't know those guys. I know the guys who usually own that store or whatever, but these were employees that I didn't know. And again, I was like uncomfortable, but I forced myself to do it. And I was ultimately glad that I did too. You know, the one guy was like, "Oh yeah, you know, I know who you are," and I was like, "Oh cool." Well, you know, because I'm friends with some of those people, and he's seen me before, whatever. Even though I didn't know who he was, you know, and I said, "Well, tell them, you know, tell Glenn and tell the people in the store, tell them that I've got another book, and you know, they should check it out. It's pretty funny, and you know, if you guys are into that kind of stuff, you guys should check it out too." I mean, who better to tell than people who work at comic book shops? I mean, like, I work at comic shops, I might check it out, even though me knowing that I would be interested in me coming and offering some cool thing or whatever, I still am like, do it. You know,
but totally get it.
We got to get over it. We got to be Ned Flanders. Heddly doodly, I got a Kickstarter. Woohoo!
Totally. So I want to definitely spend some good time looking at that, and I would love you. I know you've been telling the story. I know that the Kickstarter is in its last few days. So I would love you to get some whatever traction you can get from telling it. And I love how freaking riled up you get when telling it. So that's awesome. But before that, is it cool if I share the DILF USA video?
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I'd be so proud. I'm so proud of Julie and her brother. They co-directed this thing. Julie wrote it with some help from me. I was basically just by her side for a lot of this, and then we had to write a lot of shit on the day. But so happy with how it came out. It's definitely our best, our most quality production to date. And Dave Marfield doing our coloring and our edits. It's really awesome.
It's awesome.
Actually, my favorite part of the video is actually the credits now too. Which Julie was so upset because there was footage that we filmed of me pretending I was like P. Diddy with Mace behind me and like rapping, and Dave didn't use any of that because narratively he kind of just went a slightly different route, which I actually kind of approve of his narrative thing. But it was great footage that was sitting there, and it shows up in the credits at the end, and it's some of my favorite shit. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Let us know what you think of this, guys.
And one of the things that I wanted to say about you and Julie's collaboration on these videos is it's like you've got this trademark thing happening now of like these skits and these like things that are happening during the videos, and it's just such a great. You guys are doing such great stuff. So Julie, I don't know if you're still out there, but awesome stuff. Let's take a look.
P15. P15. Now, thanks to my prostate, when I have to pee, it takes me 15 minutes. P15. You 18. You 18, Myrtle? Because I'm down to fuck.
Oh,
you 18. You 18. You 18.
Oh, that's one of our fans who's at every show.
69.
Brooke. Shout out to Brooke.
That may seem like a dumb question to some of y'all, but I'm too old for 69. Why 69 when you can suck my dick?
And just if anyone knows the original song, it was pretty raunchy too.
Oh yeah.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you this public service announcement.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, I want some pussy.
I want some pussy.
We want some pussy.
You see, me and my homies like to play this game. We call it Amtrak, but some call it the train. We all would line up in a single file line and take our turns at waxing girls' behinds. But every time it came to me, I was shit out of luck. I'd stick my dick in and it would get stuck. The girl would say stop, I'd say I'm not. That's enough, I quit cause you're all busting me out. I said girls don't hide it, just divide it. And please don't knock it until you've tried it. So to all you bitches and all of you hoes,
You do make a sexy old man.
Thank you very much.
Hey, we want some pussy. 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 We want some pussy.
The songs just mash up together too good.
So great. So much fun. Just like you said, it's like fun.
It's fun. It's just fun, man.
It's
ridiculous.
All right, I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna fade it out. But amazing work.
Yeah, check it out. The credits bits, it replays the thing. It has the verses. It's very funny.
Let's go to the credits. Yeah, some of the videos we've been working on, you got this whole credit sequence thing that you like.
Well, it makes it so that we can credit our fans and everybody's volunteering. You know, we do these videos for free.
Yeah,
basically.
And this is like B-roll.
We call it Amtrak, but some call it the train.
Right.
We all would line up in a single file line and take our turns at waxing girls' behinds. But every time it came to me, I was shit out of luck. I'd stick my dick in and it would get stuck. The girl would say stop, I'd say I'm not. That's enough, I quit cause you're all busting me out. I said girls don't hide it, just divide it. And please don't knock it until you've tried it. So to all you bitches and all of you hoes, let's have group sex and do the rainbow.
Nice. All right. So
it's like I don't think about it when I'm doing it anymore. You know, like I'm practiced. You know, like and I try to, because you do the best things, but you try to be not too conscious. So when I'll see something like that, and I've spent the least amount of time with that footage at the end, but that move at the end where I'm singing and I look at the camera and then I turn and I look at
it's so great.
The timing of it is just so great. I'm so glad I
It
see
is.
the red though. I don't know, man. It's just like a moment where I'm like, this old guy's really into this chick, man. It's not me anymore.
It's totally amazing, and I think probably if I haven't lost half my audience by now, who might not be used to the over the top entertainment, I love it. I've been promoting it. I think it's great.
It's very good natured, and like that's the thing about me. It's funny. I wanted to say this. I believe that there are certain lines and boundaries that make people very nervous, but they must be kept free. We can't stop people from being able to do what they want to do. Yes, there might be somebody who's going to make an erotic comic and maybe he has rape in his mind and terrible things in his mind, but also somebody like me might make it and you don't know. You don't know the fucking difference. He might be a father of 4 and his intentions are completely good and it's just designed to make you laugh and it's super fun and and you can't judge a book by its cover. Nobody out there is allowed to fucking go, nope, we can't do that anymore, because good-natured people doing things that challenge challenge the fucking, the normal line, that is okay. That is okay. There are words and these are ideas, ideas, conversation. We should never put a lid onto that.
No, I love it. And it's a great segue into what we're about to talk about, which is the new book, the whole story behind it. Take a deep breath and get ready to tell us all about it. I'm going to pop up the Kickstarter page here. I'm also going to I'm going to put it into the chat, not on the screen because it's a convoluted link. So you should click it in the chat if you're interested. Much better than putting it up on the screen and you have to type this shit out.
This is an interesting journey that I had on this thing. My good friend of mine, Aaron Sparrow, he went and he started working as an editor for this company, Merck Publishing. Merck Publishing is a Kickstarter comic book company that uses nudity to great effect to make a lot of money with their campaigns. Aaron was brought in to raise the quality level of the writing and the editorial and just the quality of their comics, which tend to largely the quality will be on the covers. And then, you get into the interiors and it's just, to them, they're just satisfying an audience of horny boys, essentially. And we were trying to really elevate what they were doing and set them up to sort of pivot and be a real company that was making, a little bit more like Vampirella level stuff. There's sexy things that you can make that aren't quite so, you can't get them on comic book shelves at a comic book company, whatever else. But, there's a big market, there's a couple type like genres that are effectively marketed in Kickstarter, Indiegogo, things like that. It's like personal sort of identity shit, like LGBTQ community or any particular segment demographic you might be in. Those things can do pretty good. Then there's stuff that's like nostalgia bait that is just kind of recreating things from like the 90s, and often they'll be recreating covers and recreating styles from that period. And then the other area that makes the money and makes the most money is the nude books. Now, your average nude book, the quality is not very good, especially not on the inside. And the quality of the creators isn't great because, look, me doing a book like this literally like stops me from working for Marvel Comics or DC Comics. Like if they look up and they see that I wrote this book, they go, "We can't have a man who made a book called Fucking for Our Future." Do they, I know that it doesn't stop me from doing anything and I can continue doing whatever else. But in the industry and like the people who are professionals like me would never do a book like this, which is why the quality isn't good, because no professional would be caught dead doing a book like this, because that's going to get them. I can't get any work professionally and things. My artist is a Marvel artist who is in disguise because he can't afford to risk putting his name on the book. But I worked with this company and I watched them basically just prove themselves to be the same type of unscrupulous businessmen that I have always seen running every friggin' comic book company and every independent comic book company, who were all about taking advantage of essentially the autism spectrum fans that they believed that they had, who were obsessed with these things no matter what they did, and a variant shiny cover or whatever other thing, and they'll be happy. And like they don't have to worry about the quality of the work that's being put out. And these guys, similarly, as soon as they caught up with what they were doing, Aaron had left multiple jobs to work for them. They basically let him go. They were like, "Oh, well, we don't need you full time anymore." And then all of a sudden, Aaron was left holding the bag and had to go find new job. He had just left the job so that he could work full time for them. So that we've been discussing how we were going to help turn this into a real comic book company. Shortly after they did that, and after they cut my percentage of ownership in Guns and Angels in half, and and didn't put my name on the Kickstarter for some books that I worked on until I asked them to, didn't tell me that the Kickstarter had launched, didn't have any interest in me being included in promoting it in any way, shape, or form at all. Just, we don't need that. It's all about sexy covers and nudity and whatever else. And it is right now, but they could build an audience for their writers and for their artists. And like, this is what these fucking companies don't want to do. They don't want to give power to the other people. So finally, they do a book called Jenkies, where they rip off Scooby-Doo and they've got a Velma and Daphne type character nude on the covers and sexy nude whatever on the interiors. They think this is like the second coming of like comics. It's like the greatest stuff ever. And they made like $100,000 in a day
Wow.
on this stupid book. And I called up my friend, the artist, and I said, dude, this stupid freaking unscrupulous company just made $100,000 in a day just selling tits. I'm like, I'm going to fucking do something. Two can play at this game. I'm going to take this industry back for the people who care about comic books, the people who care about stories, the people who want this stuff to actually be good. If we don't do something, they're going to take control of the industry, people just like them. And I can't do it anymore.
Wow.
And he said, dude, I have a friend who just made $50,000 on his book. He is not talented. His artwork is terrible. The only reason why he made all that money is because he's selling tits.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, how do we do this? I'm like, my big problem with the nudity on the covers is that it affects the story. It changes how people are looking at my character, you know, but if the story could somehow be tied into the nudity, maybe I could make it work, because then it's a function of the story that she has to be nude. You know, there it is, you know, and I ended up actually coming up with a number of different ways to facilitate this need in cool and respectable ways, where it was always like empowering or just sort of a function of the story for the nudity to take place. Like there's one that I had that I'm planning on doing eventually called Game of Bones. And it's about these coven of witches who are taking over essentially Eternia. You know, they're taken over using sex and dark magic, and they're these witches, and they're running around naked in the forest, and they're using sex to get what they want. They're using what their powers as women, their feminine wiles, to overtake the men and to overtake the whole world so that they can remake it in their image. That's empowering. That's fucking cool. That's fucking, you know, sex positive of, like, you know, in some way. Granted, it's, you know, they're not always being so nice, but it's a cool way to do it, and it's not taking their power to show them nude. They're using their nudity for power. So that's a great way to be able to do nudity on the covers, but it's not fucking up my girls. It's not making my girl characters any less for having been featured nude on the cover under the right circumstance. So in this instance, just the title, Fucking for Our Future. So I was like, well, what if this, like, literally this was like an active thing, like, you know, like because I just wanted to lean into it. I'm like these books essentially are all about sex. What if the sex was more like, you know, more like an action scene? You know, it's like, you know, it's all about action, just jumping at each other, you know, like violence. You know, I was trying to think of things in terms of, like, you know, how do we make it more like an action movie, a comic book? Comic books need action, need visualization. So like drama and soap operas and shit, that stuff doesn't work so well. So in like trying to think of a couple of these things in a couple different ways, you know, just in silly ways, kind of going off the top, I very quickly came up with this basic concept of Fucking for Our Future, which was a play on kind of modern feminism and modern anti-feminism and sort of the conversations that have gone on back and forth between those things. And I kind of like gave the women what they wanted and gave the men what they wanted. And I said, you know, well, if we broke up and we all went our separate ways and we got the things that we wanted, and like 1,000 years from now, it so happened that we needed each other all of a sudden, you know, that would kind of be a problem. You know, like it's going to be a lot harder to fix it then than it would be to fix it now.
Right.
And I was like, oh, what a great message that is to all of us in society, that like perhaps we should fix it now, you know, as a thing, like, let's mend the fences now, because as this cautionary tale proves, it might be more difficult. And now what ended up happening, though, spiritually, by, you know, everything I write now, I write intuitively, a lot of intuitive writing. I totally recommend people watch some videos on intuitive writing if you're writers and stuff, and you overthink writing, or there's something that you have to write and you want to get some things out, but you don't know how to do it. Being able to just sort of think less and prepare less and organize less and just kind of let yourself have fun. In this instance, I was trying to make my artist laugh. You know, like, we're doing this book. Both of us have never done anything like this. Both of us have never thought we would do anything like this. And I'm just like, I'm just going to make him bust a gut. And like, if I can do that, then like, then it'll be good, because like he doesn't want to like this, I don't want to like this, you know, like that was really it. We're like, we want to be ashamed of ourselves so badly, you know, and I'm just like if I can keep him from feeling ashamed of himself, maybe I won't feel ashamed of myself. And that's just what happened. And the organic nature of the book led to a situation where Fucking for Our Future contains no actual female nudity. All of the nudity in the book is a power armor. My main character is a princess, and she's piloting the power armor. She will never be nude. She won't be nude on the covers. I won't betray her. There's no reason for her to be nude. It doesn't fit with the story.
Right.
The only nudity that's in the book are the three-legged men, who they're the boys, but we've turned them into Bigfoots. You know, in the story, it goes that the men broke open their genetic code after they went celibate, and this is like a classic thing that you can learn. Like lots of ancient texts will tell you, a man stops thinking about sex and starts channeling that energy into chi, and all of a sudden, the universe opens up to him, and that's what happens in the man society. And they crack their genetic code, and they turn themselves into Bigfoots, and they write it into their genetic code that there'll be no penis envy ever again, because each generation's penis will be slightly larger than the previous generations. And now some of the three-legged men's Johnsons are so large that they can't function on land, and now roam the oceans in renewed peace. So
like three-legged squid.
Yes, like three-legged squid. So, you know, these things just like, it just all lined up. And what ended up coming out of it in particular, it's a Roadrunner cartoon between men and women. And the men are the Roadrunners. They haven't seen a woman in 1,000 years. They're asexually reproducing in the wilderness, and they don't need women anymore. And, you know, society, I tend to attribute society to men's desire to make women comfortable. Granted, there are exceptions to every rule within the spectrum of that. But in general, the thing of like, I'll create an area, and then you make that area nice. You know, like that's like totally the ultimate sort of simple thing for your average, you know, your percentage wise, a masculine and feminine relationship. You know, the one person preserves the thing so that the thing can exist, and then the other thing takes that perseverance so that they can go and make things beautiful and be additive to the equation. Look, we have a home now, you know. Right. So the women have made a home, the men have gone back to the woods. You know, they gave up on society and all these things. Women have perfected society. So, you know, they got everything they wanted. They've got the matriarchy. The matriarchy's popping. You know, they do everything they want. They're smart and all these other shit. But now the cloning machines aren't working, and they can't figure out that process. And they're forced to go back to the well and see, oh, well, I guess we got to see what's going on with these men again, in order to, you know, propagate the Hugh woman race, as it were. Yeah. But it's just filled with goofy, silly thoughts on what sex really is, which is like two people slobbering on each other and all this other stuff. Like, but there's no desire in the book. There's the men don't want it. The women don't want it. There's no people who want sex. The only people who want sex are some of the boys who are looking at our covers going, that's a pretty cover. But once you open the book, you're going to find a character who just is stuck in a situation that is necessary. And, you know, and all of the story is just very functional and necessary to 2 + 2 = 4. If this was this, then this would be this. And if that was that, then this would be that. Right. So it's just very loyal to itself and loyal to its universe. And there's no agenda other than entertainment. And, you know, and really just when you get a good idea, the good idea says things. And that's why you like it. You're like, wow, this idea says some things. And then it's just up to you to bring out as many of the things that idea sort of says and points to. And I really think that we've done that very well with the book.
No, it's amazing. And I've been waiting for you to take a breath so I could ask if we could watch this trailer.
I just feel like I have to make so many excuses for it so people know that I'm not a pervert.
It's that's hysterical. Like, you have to explain the whole thing to them so they know it's not about sex.
I swear I'm not a perv.
All right. Well, since it's not about sex, you wrote this amazing jingle for it. And I did the animation, so I want to show it. And of course, all the artwork is, and I didn't realize when I was doing this that Dizzy Arnold was like a code name, but that's awesome. So let's check this out.
Nobody doesn't like sex, big titties. Say it again, men and women alike love big titties. Just admit that I'm right. You love big titties. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
You love big titties. Love big titties. I love big titties. I love big titties. I love big titties.
We want you for our future. Sign up for notifications now on Kickstarter.
You love big titties. Love big
Only from Blacklight District Studios.
Every time I see that trailer, and multiple times that I'm on these shows promoting this book, I start to laugh, and I can only describe this laughter as irony. I find it so ironic that this is what I'm doing. I've spent 41 years trying to break into the mainstream of comic books, pitching Batman and Superman and Spider-Man, and then when I wasn't getting enough fucking traction fast enough, fucking Pixar and the Muppets and whatever other little fucking things I could do. And here I with
Amazing.
a book that I know will make every mainstream comic book creator turn white and then bust a gut. I mean, my friends, my pro friends are just sort of like, oh my God, man, just like your balls. I can't even believe, like kudos to your testicles. And I love that reaction ultimately. Like,
Seriously, no, and every time I push it, it's like you said, I feel like I have to make an excuse every time I post it. Like, excuse my friend, but he's pushing the envelope of entertainment.
Julie's brother, who's a lawyer, he went and posted the "We Want Some Pussy" video, and his post was brilliant. He literally, and they still made him take it down. Somebody was like, "You need to take that down," but he posted. What did he post? He said, I completely disavow this video and everyone
association with it. Yeah.
And at first I saw it and I was like hurt, and then I'm like, oh no, wait. I mean, like that's the only way he can post it. I'm like that's awesome. I really appreciate him trying.
So great, so great. Angela says, "How funny would it be if the book was puppets?"
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it is, because the book is drawings, man.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about, you can't draw. It's drawings. It's drawings. It's just ideas. It's not happening. Nobody's actually doing anything. It's just, it's like, don't get mad at me for thinking things. And and if there were rules in place to stop me from thinking things like this, when you read this book, you will be so glad that there aren't. Because there are things that I have thought here because I was allowed to go down this path that so this was like, never thought of that before. Never noticed this before. Never imagined that situation happening, and then all of a sudden it is, and you're like, wow, that's perfect and innocent and cool. And there's nothing bad or evil or negative about that. And I never would have been able to even think this unless I let myself do something that was dirty and whatever. And what we've done isn't really dirty. And especially because we brought a very spiritual mindset to it and a very moral mindset to it, and we didn't want our characters to be disrespected, whether they were women and we needed their nudity. We wanted to make sure that the character was never disrespected, that ultimately they were in on it. And that's the important thing, I think, when you're doing that kind of thing. Essentially, I wrote a character that was giving me consent to be on the cover naked. She's like, yeah, no, this is the thing I'm doing. I'm in the power armor, and I'm not really naked anyways. This is a power armor, So like that's important. I really think in thinking about things like that, you can do anything terrible well if you actually really put love into it.
Right.
All the crazy
and that's your intention.
Yeah. All the crazy DEI stuff that's been going on and been happening so terribly, so much of the female representation that we have, it's not very good representation. It's very stilted women, just like people who don't need to learn anything, don't need to grow. The audience doesn't get to grow with the woman. So they're not endeared to women as a character, and the women aren't as human. Right. Most people are struggling in their experience. When it's a man, we'll beat the hell out of the man. But a lot of times we don't want to make the woman suffer too bad or work too hard. It's a terrible disservice for the women.
Right.
Real equality would be make them work and put them through the thing. That will endear the audience to them. That will help to sell the audience on the feminism. Hey, and in the inclusion, and these women can do it too. That's good when you're handling it right so that the audience is feeling like it's there. When you don't do those things that are necessary to convince the audience, by making the woman have to work a little harder, in a good way. It's like people don't get it's like you get more respect as a woman for doing the thing that the man does. Don't lose the fact that you deserve more respect for doing man things. It does come more naturally to this person. It came a little less naturally to you. You had to work harder to beat that guy up. You had to be a little bit more creative and smarter. Like, don't rob a woman of that. That character deserves that intelligence and those things required to beat the person. Don't just make her perfect and she beat the guy, and because then the audience isn't there and they're not with her and they're not caring about her, and you haven't done anything good for women and women's lib and moving things forward. And same thing goes for like gay representation. Right now they've got this flamboyant gay dude on Doctor Who, and it is the worst representation that the gay community could possibly wish for. It is going into Doctor Who, a show with a very specific tone that has always had a particularly kind of stilted science fiction tone that has kept certain people from watching the show, but it is also the reason why the fans of it care about it. And they have thrown that tone out the window in favor of a siesta that is like fucking very alien to the audience. And this sort of thing where things that make an audience uncomfortable, they're not familiar with the gay community and these things, that's not necessarily not gravitate. When it's rubbed in their faces, that doesn't make them go, oh, wow. Like if they are being standoffish, it's for a reason. Rubbing in their face just pushes them further away. So, the type of representation that we always want is the type of representation that humanizes the beings and makes them just humans. It's not a girl, it's a human. It's not a black person, it's a human. So a lot of that has been lost in the name of like superficial changes that you make.
Right.
But you can make all of those superficial changes that they want to make work if you also acknowledge what's happening here and some of the things, some of the greater mechanisms at play, and make sure that you're compensating for them. Just as we compensated for all this stuff with, erotic comics. And like, it's so weird to say that because our book isn't, I don't think of it really as an erotic comic.
Well, listen, I think there's definitely more than just one universe where you are doing it right. And I know you're this conversation is steering towards more like the comic shows that you're on, so I notice it's probably time for me to wind down with you. I know we can do this all night. Jesse, I love talking to you. I love your energy. I love the passion that you bring to the table with what you do. I'm so happy for you that you're having a lot of success with this. If anybody watching is interested, the Kickstarter is in the chat. The link is there. Maybe I could put it in there again. Is this?
Yeah, can I say something? Really,
absolutely,
because I've been wanting to say this. Like, and I'm going to start kind of doing this a little bit of going into various spiritual circles and stuff. So many of us spiritual people, we know what we know now. But it's like, what do we do? What do we do other than, unite and talk on little YouTube things like this and spread information among our friends and try to help our families. And, there's little things that we can do. But what do we do to really change this paradigm? The political landscape is locked up tight. The industries are not our friends. To get into these systems, a lot of people are creating little new systems, and these little new systems for medicine and these little new systems for entertainment. We have an opportunity to take over the planet. But what it's going to take is, and I was talking about this on Cool Geek Alive, that it's going to take the fans having good taste, finding the people who are wonderful, and making sure everybody knows about them. When somebody's doing something great that should be supported, it gets supported. And it's got to be the same thing, when they come up with this great new shoe that's made of hemp plastic so that you never lose your connection to the earth, or some great little additive to your diet that's really good and can help you to, not be inflamed in your body, or somebody's trying to clean the ocean with some new barge. Like, that's when we got to step up, share it. And that is so much more valuable than us detracting from things that other people are saying or trying to fight with people online about civil war or, January 6th or it happened, it didn't happen. And it's like that stuff is just going to suck our energy right out of our face. But
Absolutely.
there are people all around you, and I'm just one of them, and I'm working in the entertainment sphere. I'm a spiritual person trying to save the world through entertainment. You want to save the world? You have a little extra money. You want to support somebody who is trying to do good in this world. You don't have to read comics to get behind me and my company. And there's plenty of other people doing other things, and you don't have to even be engaged in the things that they're engaged in. If you see that they're doing something wonderful, the time is now to not order the thing from fucking Amazon, but to order it directly from these people's independent website where they're getting more money from the thing, and support these people as directly as possible and sign up for notifications on their thing. And if you follow them on social media, have notifications come up every time they post anything so that you can repost their stuff instead of just going onto your feed, reading the random shit that the algorithm has sent to you, and then posting that stuff and yelling about the people who show up in front of you. Go post the people that you like who are trying to make
that being
difference.
said, everybody, I hope you shared the show. If you didn't share it now.
Yeah, share Livestream of Consciousness.
and make a comment. I watch Ty Rivera, who is an LGBT comedian, and he's like, put a knife in the comments if you just like, because they're gonna come for my neck. He's like, but if even that helps. So
yeah, it helps. Just get a comment, a like. You don't understand these stupid algorithms. And if you're a big YouTuber, you start to understand because you'll hear your favorite YouTubers talking about how they're getting screwed in one way or another through these algorithms, through these systems. Like my podcast, I've got 1,100,000, a month. We have like 7 comments on my freaking podcast.
Right.
7.
Makes no sense. Yeah.
It takes so much. You have to have such a big audience for these things and being promoted on such a huge level before it actually turns into these things that happen when friggin' Star Wars posts a video or some record label posts a thing, and people are actually tuned in because they've got all these people and they've bought all these people and paid a lot of money to get them. So when you're just a little independent person, and especially they know you're a little independent person and you don't have friends on the inside of the social media platforms or whatever else, they are making us bleed for it, man. They are making us pay them to have our posts be seen on their platforms. And I tell everybody now too, and really this is like the best thing that you can do, period, for people. And I try to do this with everything. Share directly. If something comes across my way that I know Michael's going to like, or I know Aaron's going to like, I send it straight to Aaron. I go, oh, Aaron, look at this. Check out this video. Watch this thing. Look at this thing. I just send it directly with my friends. And when I find comic fans who are like, oh man, I love fucking For Your Future, this is great, I say, dude, if you have other friends who are comic book fans like I do, can you share it directly with them? Because it's been really hard on social media actually getting people to see it all the time because they don't end up sharing and showing it to a lot of people. So I mean, really, the power is in our hands. We are naturally leaning into supporting the system and everything the system does, but we need to consciously become aware that it's all a calculated plan. Everything that shows up. I mean, the CIA is literally listening to everything that you're fucking saying and then selling you the razor that you said you needed 5 minutes ago, And I mean, you must actively remove yourself from that corporate teat. Find the music on your own. Find the people who have the medicine and the good ideas and the new clothes and the new ways of doing things that you want, and support those people, lift those people up. Because when we have support that we need, we will become little islands and we will create systems that other people will like. And either they're going to have to copy us to compete, or they're going to have to become one with us, join with us, pull us in. So that's it. You want the whole world to change, support the people who are trying to make those changes and find them, because we're trying to help you find us, but it's harder than
Yeah, I gotta say, Jesse, I really think, I mean, we talk a lot, and what I think about what you do and all of that stuff, but like, you definitely are doing something right, because like I said, all of the shows I watched you do in the past couple of days, you lit up the audience. You did that with my chat room tonight. Everybody was getting involved, so you inspire people with your energy to get involved and chat and react, and I love it. And I mean, that's, like I said, you're part of the reason I do this, because I never would have got in front of the camera, and I do have my own audience, and I love my audience, but you really ignited. You brought Stefan. Why don't you come by one day when Jesse's not here? But I just love it. Everything you're saying, man. It's just, this is been such a great platform for me just to find myself, and eventually, hopefully, like you're doing, finding your audience and finding your people. I know it took you a while, but you've done it, man, and I'm so glad to see you swimming in that sea right now.
And the last note to end on is really, and I've done it by being authentic, by being more authentic. And that's really,
A million percent, a
that's
million
really
percent.
the key. And
Yeah.
that's and it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It really, but it actually has been the most rewarding thing I've
Totally.
ever done, and I finally feel free. And like, I don't care if anybody wants to call me a conspiracy theorist or any of these stupid things that people want to try to limit my mind to. I'm confident in how my brain works, and I know that I'm not mistaken in general about what I see in the world and how I know it could be improved. And I'm not going to stop until it is improved. And people can argue with me all they want. That's great. I welcome it. Communication is a great thing. That's how we get to the bottom of things. But I'm not going to be holding back and playing this game anymore. I'm not going to let people divide the conversation and move the conversation to another place and gaslight and do all this stuff that they love to do. And really, it's just the consciousness on planet Earth is gotten smart enough that we have to literally just sort of stand up and say, I understand your lower perspective where you want to just, but I'm not here to do that.
Right.
And I'm just going to dissolve everything that you have to say until we just get to the bottom of this and we can just talk.
Yeah.
Because this, that's not going to get us anywhere. And obviously, the left are pussies and the right are pussies. None of them want to fight. Like, we don't really want civil war. As much as we like to talk a big game online and say all these things, we
Right.
don't. So let's start the process and let's start moving forward with our lives.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about all the hard subjects and have all those hard conversations. And yeah, it stinks. And I didn't want to do it necessarily. I don't want to be judged. And then at a certain point, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I need to speak the truth that I see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Care Bear stare, Angela.
Yeah. So I'm gonna sum up the wise words of Jesse Blaze. Be authentic. Definitely amazing. I'm so honored to call you a friend. I'm so grateful to work on projects with you. I love when we work together and the inspiration and the ideas that come out, and looking forward to always being able to work with you, man. You're just a creative powerhouse. And
You too,
and I love
brother.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love
You
it.
are as well. I mean, if you guys, you watch the live stream of consciousness every week, have you checked out Michael's photography? Have you checked out his human mandalas, which are super cool, where he takes these beautiful bits of the female form? Michael's somebody who appreciates just sacred geometry of bodies, and he'll do these great photographs and different shoots and stuff. But then he'll arrange them into shapes and it's really cool stuff. Go
Thank you. I
look at Michael's work. It is the women of Armageddon. There's so many cool things that Michael's done. When you're really a creative person and you love what you do, you don't stop. You're always making things.
That's it.
It's funny. I'm literally I've been thinking this weekend I'm going to make a page of PDFs of things that I did for Marvel and DC, and because I don't give a shit, I'm just going to give them away, and I'll have a link, and everybody can go and they can download it for free.
Awesome.
I don't care. Because I have all this work, and there's so many things that people always ask. Oh, I got to find this or whatever. I'm like, find it here, and I'll just put a shitload of links. There you go. All right, a link to the music videos, a link to all the freaking PDFs for all the comics. Read whatever you want to read. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. I just want people to be able to enjoy the stuff that I've made. I made it for them.
Totally. Thank you, Angela. And I just wanted to say, Tim, I saw you say you had an emergency. I didn't want to bring attention to it. I'm glad everything's okay. I'm glad you made it back for the show. Stefan wishing he saw more of the styrofoam stuff. Wow. So some people are paying attention. He sees my work. That's awesome, Stefan. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the endorsement from you, Jess. Awesome. Don't go away, Jess. I want to put you in the back room. I want to say goodnight.
Okay.
But I want to talk to you before you leave. So thank you for being on the show once again. And hopefully we'll see you back soon.
Yeah.
All right. Peace. All right, guys. You know how this works, right? I got to take my deep breath in. Let it out. from the show. That was amazing. Jesse Blaze, man, what a powerhouse. What an energetic force. I just wanted to announce next week, I'm not sure who I'm bringing on, but the following week, I'm super excited. I actually have Metatron coming on the show. So I've had her on the show before. Wendy Gale is a channeler who channels Metatron, but she has agreed to channel Metatron and bring Metatron on as a guest. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, that should be a great episode. You'll be able to ask questions. It's going to be amazing. I've been working with her and Metatron, and it was just an amazing experience. And then the week after that, I have Carolina Luna, who ran the drum circle that I was at a few weeks ago. If you guys saw on my Facebook page, it was just an amazing, it was the pink full moon. It was just such an amazing night. I hadn't been to one in a while. And she's going to come on the show, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm excited. The live stream of consciousness is the place to be on Thursday, man. Come join me and just always, I don't know, be yourself, be authentic. Like Jesse said, peace.
What is consciousness? The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question that has captivated human minds for centuries. Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the